There was some drama within the Republican Party today. As Donald Trump was arriving on Capitol Hill for the first time since January 6th, MAGA Congressman Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz got into a dust-up. This all went down during a Judiciary Committee hearing that was examining the prosecution of Donald Trump by Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. I'll go over the entire situation with you guys and show you all the clips. Before I show these MAGA weirdos getting into it, I have to give some time to the Democrats because they brought their A game and were clowning on these Republicans. Watch Eric Swalwell take them to task.
Just a show of hands for anyone in the room who hung out with a felon today. Hey guys, probably want to get your hands up if you were hanging out with convicted felon Donald Trump. I don't think anyone on our side did, but that's why we're here.
I love the Republicans just staring at Eric Swalwell. You know they wanted to say something, but they couldn't think of anything. And then Representative Adam Schiff had this awesome takedown of the Republicans.
I want to begin by quoting the jury in the Manhattan hush money payment trial. Guilty, 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 guilty. This was what the jury pronounced unanimously on every count. My Republican colleagues don't really contest Donald Trump's guilt. This is the fascinating thing. Their argument is essentially he should never have been prosecuted, or they falsely claim it was a political prosecution, or they falsely claim it should have been a misdemeanor, not a felony. But they don't contest, not really, that Donald Trump was making hush money payments to a porn star to hide their affair from voters.
I love Adam Schiff laying out the facts here. The Republicans want to examine the prosecution of Donald Trump as if something went wrong here. Well, a jury of 12 random people found him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So obviously the prosecutors did the right thing by bringing this case because a jury agreed he committed a crime. And yes, I counted, Adam Schiff did say guilty 34 times. What a champ. Now, after Democrats roughed up Republicans for a few minutes, Congressman Matt Gaetz had an opportunity to make some remarks, and he used this time to quickly piss off the committee chairman, Jim Jordan. While you listen to Matt's remarks, keep in mind that Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Prosecutor Matthew Colangelo have already voluntarily agreed to testify on July 12th.
Because this will surprise a lot of Americans after hearing the enthusiasm around oversight of the Biden crime family. We never sent a subpoena to Hunter Biden to give live testimony before Congress. Let that sink in. The Republican House majority has never subpoenaed Hunter Biden for live testimony in public. We've never done it. And I worry that, we're going about the same kind of process here, and we may end up there in July, right after sentencing, with an empty Alvin Bragg nameplate and an empty Matthew Colangelo nameplate. And then we'll start the process again on letters and subpoenas and accommodation. And I've just grown tired of it. And I think you're right, Ms. Foley, that this is all professional wrestling. There's no real effort to bring these people to bear. So,
will the gentleman yield for a question?
One second, I got a motion. Mr. Chairman, I move under Committee Rule 4 and Clause 2M of House Rule 11 to require the attendance and testimony of Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo on July 12th to discuss their involvement in the Trump prosecution, including their office's coordination with the Department of Justice.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Gentlemen, ranking members recognized.
It's a little absurd because Mr. Bragg and Mr. Colangelo have already agreed to appear before the committee on July 12th. We have a letter to that effect, so there's no point requiring them to do what they've already said they're going to do.
So Matt Gaetz has made a motion to subpoena District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Assistant District Attorney Matthew Colangelo, who was one of the lead prosecutors on the case against Trump. But these guys have already agreed to appear with it before Congress on July 12th, the day after Donald Trump gets sentenced. But Matt Gaetz is pulling a stunt here to try to subpoena them in advance of them not showing up. Well, they put out a letter saying that they would voluntarily be there. So until they don't show up, you've got no case.
Mr. Bragg and Mr. Colangelo have agreed to come on the 12th. If they don't show up on the 12th, they will be subpoenaed. So I would ask the gentleman if he could withdraw the motion. They're coming. We worked hard over the weekend to make sure they're coming. And if they change their mind, they will get a subpoena from the committee requiring them, compelling them to be here. And then if they choose to go to court on that, I think we'll beat them in court like we did the first time when we got Mr. Pomerantz to come testify in front of the, come be deposed in front of the committee.
Time then becomes determinative. The problem is, if we're going to bring these people in, let's go. I've made a motion to subpoena these people now, pursuant to the rules, and I want to vote on my motion, or I want someone to move to table it.
You made the motion to subpoena them for the 12th?
I moved under Committee Rule 4, Clause 2M of House Rule 11, to require the attendance.
I move to table the...
That's fine.
I second that.
So look at Jim Jordan not on the same page with Matt Gaetz here, even showing that he's annoyed with Matt Gaetz and asking him to withdraw his motion to subpoena these guys who, again, have volunteered to show up.
Gentleman's made a motion. The motion to table is not debatable. Those in favor of...
So this caused a major disruption for Jim Jordan's hearing, so clearly he wasn't happy. He had to go back and forth with his staff a bunch, and then he did this.
Committee will stand in recess.
Look at that, Jim Jordan calling for a recess within minutes of his hearing starting. You know he was just pissed off about this interruption. He stared right at Matt Gaetz as he walked by him, and I guarantee he told him, "Meet me out back," gave him a piece of his mind. Now that led to about a 15-minute recess, and when they came back, this happened.
Committee will come to order. The gentleman from Florida has 2 minutes remaining on his 5 minutes of questions.
Mr. Chairman, I will withdraw my motion based on the representations not only that you've made, but that the ranking member has made in our colloquy previously that Mr. Bragg and Mr. Colangelo will be here and willing to answer our questions. Ms. Foley, I wanted to come back.
So Matt Gaetz withdraws his motion to subpoena District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Prosecutor Matthew Colangelo. I don't know what Jim Jordan said to him during that 15-minute break, but he put the fear of God into this man and made him back down, put his tail between his legs, and said, "My bad." I love watching these MAGA weirdos go at it. They need to be fully united if they're going to stand a chance against the Democrats in the November elections. And for Matt Gaetz to show up to Jim Jordan's big hearing and pull a stunt like this that causes Jim Jordan to scold him in front of everybody, take a recess prematurely, and then Matt Gaetz come back with his tail between his legs and withdraw his motion to subpoena Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo? What a disaster. This is just another example of how Republicans are all show and not interested in actually governing. And I believe the American people are seeing right through it, and they will hand them that defeat come November.